be early. It's not lame to be early. First in, last out. That will go such a long way. I promise you. You're a brand designer there, you said?
Yeah, yeah.
Nice. How big's that team? What's the team look like? Do you know?
Yeah, I've met them over like my interviews. I think it's like the design team is about like definitely less than 10. I think it's like 5 to 6 people. Yeah.
Sick. Okay, that's cool. That's a good size.
Mhm.
I started my career at NBC Sports, so like in-house. So I can give you any knowledge that I have, but I was in the very same position where it was like you walk in, you don't know anything, especially not how like an internal office is run. Like, you can kind of assume like how an agency or studio is run, but like it's like a proper office. And you're like, well, I'm just here for my design job.
Yeah, it's so weird because I also like I interned at a studio recently and I also interned at Pepsi, which was like an office
Oh, cool.
like
Yeah,
situation. So I was kind of decide like well, I didn't really have much. I was trying to like look for any job.
sure.
But I was trying to decide like would I be happier in a studio? Would I be happier in-house? So I figured just like, well, this one just like I fell into it seemed really cool. So also any like because when I worked at the studio it was my last semester, it was also interesting to see how the workflow was like there. Like if like sometimes there wouldn't be anything to do. Sometimes I'd be like super busy and like all the different clients and
Oh,
it's
interesting.
really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. I think having the kind of breadth of seeing different studios, especially Pepsi, which is a great one, which is like a major, tech platform, um, is good. I also do think that starting in-house is helpful. It just gives you a different perspective and you kind of understand the client perspective a lot more just because you're going to be surrounded by people who you would be selling to normally, which is cool. Approach to everything, but my approach when I got into NBC Sports was in this in-house job was I'll do anything and everything you want me to do. I mean, obviously all of the cliches that aren't cliches are just like best practices, like be early. It's not lame to be early. Be 15 minutes ahead of time. Stay 15 minutes late. Be the last to leave. First in, last out. That will go such a long way. I promise you. Especially because you're like just graduated, um, newest person on the team. You just show your keenness. Like no matter what, do that every day, and you're gonna be this star in the entire office, not just the
That's
design team.
helpful.
Also, think about it, right? Like you're going into an office with a bunch of non-design people.
Mhm.
Design always gets looked creative, always gets looked at as like, oh, they just come in at 10, they do whatever the fuck they want, blah, 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 blah. So imagine if you are like the star pupil and the designer, they're gonna be like, what the fuck's going on over there? You're like, you'll kill it. Um, and then I think do anything and everything. I think you'll get menial tasks, which are menial on purpose. I mean, I cut out football players. Like I went to ap.com, downloaded the high res photo or took like the photo that they shot and literally pen tooled them out.
Yeah, I
Something
did
I,
that at the studio I worked at. They did like a spot for the NHL stadium series and I was just cutting out the hockey players for hours and hours.
that was my first like 3 months of my job. It
Yeah.
was crazy. I got really fast at it, and then
Yeah.
that's when I like kind of went and explored the rest of the office and just kept bugging people to let me do other things. But like that's a perfect example. Just get really good at all the menial tasks. It'll help you in the future. Um, it'll help you just like fundamentals, just like it's just reps. But I do think you'll get good at it and you'll get speedy. And I think that's the next step is like get speedy with menial stuff, not with creative stuff, not with, big ideas or thinking, but like the speed will help you just have more time to do other stuff. So you could borrow from before and after work and spend a lot of time in the office. Or you could get really fast and good and then borrow from that existing time. Well, I think both are great and like you'll kind of get a feel for it as you get into the groove of things. But like if you're speedy but good, people are going to trust you a lot more and be like, she's our go-to. This is great. If you're also staying late, they just know that you're a team player. So I think it's all just like building your little, your internal brand, for lack of a better term, internally at your shop. This goes for everywhere. I think you could translate this to studios and stuff too, but it's just you have so many more kind of business school, professional, like typical office people eyes on you. So I think that kind of helps of like figuring out how to work well with them, because that'll then translate into, if you ever decide to go client agency side, maybe you'll stay client side, maybe you love it. But if you do flip flop or go to the other side, you'll really know how to interact with those people in a way that you wouldn't get that same experience, talking day to day to them at an agency. An agency, it's more like presenting to them at all times, less like in the weeds with them.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because when I was at Pepsi too, like we like hired studios to do stuff sometimes. I never really thought about it of like working in-house. You're basically like with the client, and then working in the studio. Yeah, I didn't think about it, but that's interesting. Because like when I saw them bring on studio work, I was like, oh, I thought we were supposed to do everything. So.
No, but that's cool, because then you get to that's directing, right? So it's a new experience, which is really a good part of being in-house, is like getting to be part of that, directing other designers, which like at an agency, you don't necessarily get for a while, until you kind of climb the ranks and get above a senior designer or whatever, when you start getting members of your own. But it's cool. It's a good skill, and it's a really hard skill, and you're never taught it. I think that's a big agency problem, is I don't think like design directors or creative directors and above are ever taught truly how to manage. They kind of sink or swim. I think by being on the client side but still design, you get to then just get exposure to it, and the exposure will just make you better at it in the long term. So it's a good, I think, like, make mental notes every time you're kind of working with any external partners of like how, because it comes down to communication, right? Like, it could be like the sickest agency ever, but like if the brand side is communicating poorly, it might not be the best work outputs, but you're there as the designer with the eye and your team, so that you kind of can guide that and make it even better. So it's best case scenario. I love working with internal teams, because you just get to talk to design, and you kind of get like everyone's like speaks the same language a lot faster. So the work always gets better. Pepsi's really strong. I mean, Pepsi does it all the time. People, and their output is really strong there. But that's kind of like learning that too, which is a slight intangible, but I think will be a takeaway, as you progress in your career.
Yeah, for sure. Because they were saying they have a lot of different like outputs, I guess. Like they have different brands within the brand. And then like, so I'll be doing a lot of different things. Like they said, I'll be doing some web design, some brand design, some social media stuff. So I feel like it's like a good place to start. Yeah.
Sick. No, yeah, that's great. And then as far as like your day to day, I don't know what it looks like, what you're going to be doing, and like how crits are run or anything like that. But assuming it's somewhat similar to a traditional structure of like your director, creative or design, will give you a project to go do, and you the whole team gets it. Everyone makes some routes and you put it on the board. I say this all the time, but it's like, do exactly what they tell you to do. Like to a T, answer the brief perfectly. And then do your version that like challenges them, challenges you, challenges the brief. I think that's when like you're gonna have to invest some of your own time. I think it's just perfect. Beginning of the career is the perfect time to like make this your life, make it a time. I'm not saying grind it to the bone, but like use the extra time to really like learn and explore and do different styles. And I think that's when like, before or after, or even, you do what they're asking for really quickly, and then you do your version. I think it'll be really strong when you come to a crit, because it's like, I did exactly what you are looking for. I'm the best team player you could possibly have. And then also I'm challenging you. Your brief's fucking wrong. Here's what I think would be a lot cooler. So
like
and then you're not fucking anyone off. Sorry.
You mean like deliver two things, like when
deliver more than what you're asked for.
Okay.
But it's a fine line. I hesitate to give that advice to everyone, because sometimes it's not volume. It's not quantity.
Right.
It's very much quality. It's like, and do the project, you are the junior member now, you're the last hire, right? Do it because you are a workhorse of sorts, which is just the reality of it. But then, explore and expand upon it and challenge the brief or project or whatever in your own right so that you at least have both. I think some people this has happened in studio, not here, but like at teams before, ages ago, where it's like some people just come with like a billion fucking things, and it's like, we don't want that. We want like concise ideas. So like, you want the right thing and then the challenge bit. I think that's how I think any studio, in-house or otherwise, I think that's how you show up very politely, but also in a very strong way, because you have a point of view. You can do the do, but you have the point of view at the same time, and you show that you really want to convey that. And it also just shows like you give a fuck.
Yeah, that makes sense.
For
sure. And I'm also wondering, because I also fell into a couple of like freelance projects too that I have like that I've been working on. Is there like, do you have any like work-life balance tips with freelance and working in-house?
That's two different things: work-life balance or balancing it with your day job.
I guess yeah, both. I guess that's kind of what I make, both work-life balance and balancing day-to-day tasks, freelance and non.
This will be unpopular. Emma, I forget her last name. The like business, she was on Diary of a CEO, the businesswoman behind Skims and all the Jenner brands and stuff. She's sick. You should listen to that. It's just cool. But she was like, I don't like the question work-life balance. You gotta grind. And I get that. I think that's for the owner or like the founders or whatever. And this is very much like startup, and also like Kim Kardashian, get your ass back to work or whatever the fuck. Right? I do think as a young designer coming out of school, your life should mostly be work. This is gonna be unpopular. I'm sure I'll get shit for it. But like, I do think that should be the bulk of your life. I think you have the time in the evenings to keep going. And the fact that you just like to do freelance, I'm not saying like stay all night and work really hard and give it your all. I think it's a lot of different things and different like showing up 15 minutes early and staying 15 minutes late is not going to throw off anyone's work-life balance. That's an extra half hour. That's 2.5 hours a week. It's no big deal. For like infinite gain. I think the fact that you want to do freelance on the side just means you like doing this anyway, and that's what I think is good. Don't do your freelance at work. I know that's a thing you shouldn't have to tell people, but some people still do it. Focus on nights and weekends. And I think what you should do is, if you are going to spend all of that time doing design, so your day and then some of your nights and or weekends, make sure that those freelance projects aren't just for money. Make sure that you're getting something out of them. It's something different from your day-to-day, different types of projects, styles of, aesthetically different, challenges different, outputs different. If you do brand, design, hardcore design all day, do some motion at night or something that's like, or 3D, something that's like bringing your skills all intertwined. Vin was just showing us, he did a t-shirt for Only, so it was an illustration, Only New York. So like that feels like a perfect balance of like different from what the day-to-day is, where we make merch and shit, but that it was just more illustrative and fun and different sector, so it balances his kind of day job where it's more packaging.
Yeah, like for one of the freelance projects I got, one of them is like an illustration for like a tote bag design, and I almost said exactly I almost said no. I was like, oh, I'm not an illustrator, but then I was like, but it could be really fun to just work on, just like draw at night after work or something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What'd you say? That's why I did it. That's why he did it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, take it. Yeah, take anything that's like weird. That's not going to kill you. Don't kill yourself on freelance. I think that is kind of, I've been there. Because I wasn't making enough money during the day, and I just wanted more, whatever, right? And you just take it and take it and take it, and then you're like, that wasn't worth it. Like the creative output should be worth it on all of your freelance. Your day job's going to be a grind. It's going to be fun. That seems like a really cool place. So it's not going to be a total grind, but like treat that as the grind, and treat like your freelance as like a bit of output. And I think it's good to do freelance. I mean, some people do like personal projects or passion projects or just illustrate for fun. I I like working a lot, so I'm not the person to talk about with like art projects, which I've definitely done. But like I think like doing something that will better the career and better you as a designer goes a long way. So tailoring your freelance to that. Illustration absolutely counts. I think it's perfect. Also, like you're not gonna fuck it up. I've seen your book. It's gonna look good regardless, right? Like it's just gonna be a slight challenge of how you think about approaching a project, though.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't believe in work-life balance. That's kind of the takeaway. Just to go back to that, that's the takeaway to I think it's a flow, not a balance, right?
Yeah.
Like if you don't want to, you gotta really, really like doing this job, or just do something else. And I feel like you already do. So I'm not directly speaking to you, but like you gotta really fucking like it, because if not, you're not gonna be the best. You're not going to be as strong as you could be because you're focusing on other things. Well, how am I gonna balance like life? Am I gonna have to work all night? Am I gonna have to work weekends and shit? I think 99.9% of the time, if that's happening to you, that is shit management in your studio company or agency. I've proven it with this. I mean, we've never worked weekends in 3 years at Tavern. I think the only time I made a rule at my last job with DD, who turned into a creative director there, where we were like, only anything after 6 has to be fun and you have to want to be here. Right. So like you want to take that route and like make it a little bit better because it's cool and we want to sell it in. Like it has like more personal agenda to it if you're working late. So I would take that lens. If you're working till 11 at any place, there's something wrong there. They're understaffed, they're managed poorly. So this work-life balance thing is a little like, I don't know. I feel like a misnomer. Don't worry about your life. You're going to work really hard for a couple of years, and then you're going to be a shit hot designer that's never going to have to worry about that. Worry about if you have time off in the evenings again. I think it's a perfect time to grind. A perfect example of this was I had a studio space where we had like a wood shop and we made skateboards and stuff. So I did all the fucking art projects and shit. We made literally hand pressed skateboards and had like a wood shop part of it. And my buddy who I shared it with had a bunch of sewing machines and he would make like home goods and stuff. We worked together at Quaker City Mercantile actually. So we would go and work together at 9 a.m. We'd go to lunch, finish the workday, walk to the studio and work until like 11 o'clock at night for a few years. It was like 23 to 25. Like then you go to the bar and then you do it all over again. It's kind of like that was the best. It was the most fun. It like truly was, because you get like full creative expression all day long. You're doing all these things. And then that work that we were doing with the skateboards literally bled into the day-to-day where we did a pop-up. The skateboard company did a pop-up with one of the brands that I was working on every day, and it starts to overlap. It's just more points of reference, really. So, and that goes for your freelancing. I think like just do it all. Don't kill yourself, obviously, but like do it all. I think the only like work-life balance watch out is really if you're at work all day long and all night long and you're getting totally fucked. That's when it's like, and it's not you, you know?
Yeah,
So
because at my last internship, it was kind of like I would have to leave at like 8:30 and I'd get back to campus at like 8:30 p.m. And it was just like really long hours. So like even when I was interviewing for this job, I was like, so what are the hours like here? Like I made sure to ask that because when I got the contract, it was saying like it said like for the internship, it was like we start at 10 a.m. and end at 7 p.m. And I was like, oh, I wish I asked before I got into this.
Yeah.
But especially being in school too, like I got like, so that's the reason why I asked too, because I had a hard time last semester. But I think like what you're saying makes a lot of sense. That
I think that's tough with school though. I mean, school is your obligation. Obviously the internship, but like school, you got to balance school with that. I think now it's like you're only like your school and your only obligation now is work. So like maybe you have others. Sorry if I'm assuming, but you know what I mean? Like that's the kind of key driver there, right? I would be like, yeah, what are the hours? Like how they do it real casually? How late do you guys typically work? Like lots of like I don't mind working weekends. You guys do that? I know the friends of mine have done. Do it like I don't give a fuck. I'm chill. But don't ask about work-life balance and don't be like, well, I need to leave at 6. Like us personally, no one's worked past 6 unless they wanted to. Literally no one's ever worked a weekend, except for me. I just work all of the time. I'm completely different. I don't think anyone's ever worked a weekend here. But if someone asked me that in an interview question about work-life balance, then we're done talking. Because it's just like, do you want to design? I mean, I go to it, it's like, I know what these two do on the weekends or even at nighttime. Like Vin's a fucking freak to begin with. He goes home and like opens Illustrator to feel like comfort. How do you phrase it?
That's exactly.
Yeah. Just like goes and like noodles around after work. So like, I think you just really have to make fonts. Yeah, doing different things like for fun, nothing serious and nothing that's like going to like drive you to go nuts. But like, it's very much, you gotta really, really like what you're doing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I just watch with the work-life balance question. I feel like everyone loves to ask that stuff. And it's like, you're kind of a junior designer. This is your time to grind.
Yeah.
I would put it on yourself. Like, put the grind on yourself. Don't let your company grind you. I'm talking in circles now, but like,
I feel like that's
don't let
definitely
the
a good way to
company
put
grind
it. Yeah, I think that's what I meant by like, what do you do if the company's like killing you? Not as much of like, I want to
get the fuck out if the company's killing you. Listen, if you, for the rest of your career, if you ever think like you're getting abused from a time perspective, email me, take me through the day, and I will tell you exactly where the problems are. And if it's you or management, and 99% of the time it's going to be management, I promise you. But you don't know that until you're really in the thick of it. And then the pressure's on, right? You want to like do good at work and you want to impress people and whatever. So no reason it should be bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I'm about to jump into it. Even on my first week is in Miami. They're like flying me out to go to Miami for like a conference, and I'm just like, this is cool. Like I think I picked a good spot, but it's just crazy to like jump right into it and have it be like a whole trip. It's like
yeah, that's great. That rules. I think that's the best case scenario because you're like when you do travel for work too, like you are just naturally become closer with all of your coworkers and stuff. My advice there would be there early and be there late. And I think that goes for like even the extracurricular activities, right? Like don't stay out drinking all night. I think that's be responsible there, but don't not stay out drinking all night. Just don't get, you know what I mean? Like, I do think like if there's dinners or drinks or whatever, like force yourself there, be there and be like prevalent and in the mix because you're just going to make friends so fast. And then you have friends within the company and it's just going to make for better work, better vibe. You're going to elevate you as like your brand within the organization as a junior, as your first job is super important. So you being personable and down and whatever, I think will be really helpful. So I think that's huge. My first day at my second job, QCM, I don't know if it was like day 3 or something. And I was on Hendrick's Gin and they had a Hendrick's Gin party that the team was like working on and everyone got like hammered. And then we went out afterwards and it was like, boom, I'm already in. Like, there's no weirdness for like the first couple of weeks of being like, hey, I'm the new guy, whatever. It's like, no, new person immediately, right? Don't be a weirdo. If I was a weirdo, I wouldn't have worked, but like, it's kind of that simple. So I think that's huge. I think that's honestly, it'll be fun because it's Miami too, right?
Yeah, I've never been.
It's gonna be dope. But then also like just out the gate, ready to go. I think best case scenario for starting a new job.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think like you wish you knew in my shoes, like starting at your first job in a couple days.
Make sure. I think onboarding. I mean, a lot of companies don't have really good onboarding, but like go out of your way to ask, and don't be afraid to ask. Like, where's the files? Like, really simple questions. Because it's always like you go on your first day and it's just kind of like, what do I do? But like, just ask every question that comes to mind. Like, don't be afraid because I can think of many times I was too afraid to ask and then gets too late and it looks like you're like stalling. So just ask as many questions as possible.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the server's going to be fucked.
Yeah.
They're tech companies, so maybe not, but like the server's going to be fucked from a design team perspective. And I hope I'm not talking shit on any of your future colleagues,
No,
but
you-
it's always fucked.
Yeah.
And just ask.
Mhm.
That is huge.
Mhm.
I fumbled about, and then it's the worst when you're like, I'll figure this out. I'll find
Yeah,
this on the
you know.
server. And 45 minutes later, they're like, you didn't find it. You could have just leaned over and asked me.
Yeah.
You're gonna look like a dipshit, and don't want that. Just ask. No one's gonna be bummed.
Mhm.
Also, like make friends with like the also other junior or most junior person and be like, yo, where's the shit at? And they'll totally
Yeah.
help you out, you know?
Yeah.
You don't have to be going to like the creative director asking stuff. You can kind of
Yeah.
weasel your way around, make it look like you know what's going on. What about you?
Yeah, overall, I think piggybacking off of what both they're saying is just treat it like it's your career and it's not like you are an employee of this company. This is my career. Then you'll ask the questions, you'll do the freelance projects, but at the end of the day, it's just the skills that you're building and connections that you're making and what you're able to contribute. If you need to ask questions, just go ahead and do that and kind of just take what you need to be able to be the best contributor to be.
Yeah.
I think that's
I
really
think that's great.
the summarization of everything though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Ask any question, but Google it first.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
not ask. I know how silly that's.
Oh, no.
Do not ask a question you can fucking Google.
There's a
Yeah,
real
no,
thing.
like-
Like,
Yeah, my
people say,
internship, like at my Google search history, be like, what does this mean on After Effects? What does it mean if this button goes up on After Effects? Blah, blah, blah. It was like it's every
Yes.
search history thing, and then like if I couldn't find an answer, I'd like be like, okay, it's time to ask.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit like that.
No, people will say like there are no stupid questions, and for you, yeah, there are no stupid questions. If you are wasting other people's time with things that you could find elsewhere, probably not the best idea. But yeah, like don't ask obvious questions that you can find what this word means or find what the abbreviation means.
Mhm.
But other than that, if you need to find a file, like you should be asking.
Yeah, you can't.
But-
Google it.
But I will say, so like KPI, obviously Google.
Yeah.
But you're gonna there might be things like BOP or FOP that I don't think are Googleable. Go there.
Front bag, backpack.
Got it. Which like I don't think anyone knew.
Some of
That's
them are they're like company lingo terms.
Yeah. So don't be afraid to ask stupid questions.
Yeah.
Just Google it first. Be like, what does BOP mean packaging? And then ask the question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all good advice. It's your life. This is grad school, right? Like treat it as
Yeah,
grad school.
yeah.
I'm here to learn, to get experience and make the most of that. Maybe you'll stay there for 20 years. Most likely not. You'll work for a long time and with some people, and then you'll kind of graduate to another place, internal or external. Yeah, brand side or agency side. But like this is like it's grad school. It's another learning experience to really get your hands dirty. So take advantage of it and be the best contributor. That's
Yeah.
it. I think that's really strong because that's what you're there to do as a junior. Yeah, they want your creative ideas, but they also, you're a bit of a workhorse.
Mhm.
And I think like bring both to the table, but like know the role, but push your agenda, which is better creative.
Yeah. Exactly.
Good luck. Enjoy Miami. That rules.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you guys
Jealous?
so much. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, I'll let you know how it goes and everything. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for your advice. I love your studio. Everything you do is super cool.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Hell yeah. No, congrats and let us know how it goes.